It's not. Oh, there we go. Good morning, Tashi Delay. My name is Ani Lisa. I'm a Buddhist nun. I'm a registered nurse, and I'm part of the family at Kunde Institute. And we're happy to be back here again on Wednesdays, bringing these guided meditations. And we've been doing this for, goodness, almost 2 months now while we're in our stay at home. On Mondays and Fridays, Dr. Kelzing's been with us. She's been doing just some information on self-healing and self-care at home, boosting our immune systems, things like that. And we've had several series of talks on Tibetan medicine, and you can find those on our website, or you can go to our Facebook page. We've recorded those, so those are really helpful and very informational if you want to check those out at some point. And we're recording these if you want to go back and look at them at a later time. So welcome, or welcome back if you've been joining us. So today we're going to do a meditation. If you've been here every week or you've been here before, just bear with me. We'll do a brief review for anybody new. So why do we meditate? Well, we meditate to train our minds, sort of like an athlete or a musician. You wouldn't just go out and run a 10K or sit down and play the piano. You'd have to start at the beginning and practice and work up to it. And we do the same thing with meditation. We're training our minds. What are we training our minds to do? We're training them to focus. Because when we can focus our minds, when we can sort of filter out the distractions in the background, we create some calm, we create some space. And when we have that calm and that space, we're better able to deal with any issues or any problems that crop up. We can deal with them in a calm, measured way instead of reacting and getting angry or doing something disastrous. So we say that we have monkey mind in Buddhism, and you can think of monkeys swinging through the trees, screaming and yelling, and that's sort of what's going on in our heads all the time. We've got thoughts and memories and to-do lists and emotions and things just racing around in there. And when we can meditate and learn to focus, we can't make them go away. They're always going to be there, but we can kind of sort of ignore them, turn down the volume so they're not so forefront of our minds. We're not thinking about them so much. We've created sort of this space, this more peaceful mind. And that's our goal, to have a more peaceful mind. Because when we have a more peaceful mind, we'll have a more peaceful life. We'll have less suffering. So if you have an established practice, stick with it. If you want to add this into it, great. And if you're new, I'd recommend doing a brief meditation in the morning and again in the evening. We say D&D, dawn and dusk. So when you get up in the morning, just take a few moments before you start your day and find a quiet space. Just kind of sit and focus yourself and just sort of prepare yourself for the day. Set your motivation for the day. Then in the evening, when the day's done, before you go to bed, again, just a few moments in a quiet space where you can just sit and relax and just let go of your day, because the day's done. Can't change it. Let it go. Past is past. Go to sleep with a intention to start over again the next day. And hopefully if you had a bad day, you have a better day the next day. And the same thing with our meditation. If you have a good session, great. If you have a bad session, let it go. It's, we just keep at it. That's why we call it practice. We keep practicing. So we're going to do 2 types of meditation today. First is going to be a concentration or a stabilization meditation, where we're going to focus on an object. And in this case, we're going to focus on our breath, because that's the easiest. Breath is always with us. Don't have to buy any fancy equipment to do this. And the second will be a guided or an analytical, where we're going to sort of think about, contemplate a concept or an idea. When we do an analytical, we're going to analyze an issue, just try to come to a deeper understanding of it. In this case today, we're going to talk about the concept of time, the meaning of time. And it's a huge subject. We're not going to get any deep realizations in 10 or 15 minutes, but we're just sort of scratch the surface a little bit, just give us some food for thought. So we'll start with our positioning, just a brief review. So if you're seated in a chair, that's fine. Don't have to be seated on the floor in the lotus position. I mean, if you can do that, great. But most importantly is you want to be comfortable. So if you're seated in a chair, you want to be sitting up nice and straight, but not stiff. Just nice and straight. Open up our airway, open up our lungs, open up our, we have energy channels that run alongside our spine. And when we sit up nice and straight, we open up those channels so the energy can flow. And I said, we open up our lungs so we can take a nice deep breath. We kind of shake out our shoulders a little bit, shake out our neck. We hold a lot of tension there. If you're seated in a chair, you want your feet on the floor. You want to be making that connection with the earth. That just sort of gives us that grounding sensation. And you can have your hands in the traditional posture, which is right on the left with the thumbs touching, sort of just resting in your lap, just below your navel, or you can rest your hands on your legs. Or if you're seated on the floor and you want to just rest your hands on your knees, that's fine. The main thing is that you're comfortable. You feel comfortable and settled and grounded, because when the body can settle and feels comfortable, the mind will settle. If you're in an uncomfortable position or an awkward position or something hurts, your mind won't settle. It's going to constantly go to that area that's of discomfort. It won't settle down. So most important thing is to be comfortable. As I said, we're going to focus on an object. In this case, it'll be our breath. So we're just going to breathe normally. And we can focus on the sensation of the breath coming in at your nostrils or the rise and fall of your chest. You can pick an object of focus, a space that works for you, whatever part works for you. And then we're going to add something else to it, because our minds want to be busy. It's going to want to distract us. So we're going to either count our breaths, trying to achieve a count of 10 on the exhalation, or we can just think breathing in, breathing out, sort of like a mantra. Or if you have a mantra that you know, you can just repeat the mantra sort of in time with the breath. Again, just to help keep our minds focused on the breath. And there will be distractions. There may be noises. I'm hoping my dog won't bark. Your phone may ring. Somebody could come to the door, whatever. But we just let those fade into the background, any noises, any sights and sounds. And we're not trying to block them out, because we can't do that. It's said that our mind is like a clear blue sky, just a vast blue sky. And the thoughts, the noises, the distractions, the to-do lists, all the stuff going through our head, those are just clouds, just passing through this blue sky. Behind those clouds, that blue sky is always there. So we just see them and let them go. We don't attach to them, don't think about them. And if you get distracted, as soon as you get distracted, the key thing is to catch yourself getting distracted and think, oh, wait a minute, let me go back to focusing on my breath. And if you have to do that 100 times, it's okay. It gets easier. So I'm going to set a timer on my phone for 5 minutes. So you hear a bell at the beginning and a bell at the end. And let me just turn the volume up so you can hear it. Okay, and before we start, we'll just take a couple of deep breaths just to sort of settle in into this space. So I'll just take a nice deep breath in. Slight pause. Breath out. And we'll do this 2 more times. Nice deep breath in. And 1 more. Nice deep breath in. Slight pause. And we'll begin. So that was 5 minutes. Felt like an eternity. And when you do this at home, do 2 or 3 minutes and work up to 5. Or if 5 felt really great, then add a few minutes. You don't want to go from 5 minutes to an hour because we want our meditations to be enjoyable. So we want to gradually build on them. Like that metaphor of the athlete or the musician. We just slowly build up our skills. So now we'll move on to our guided meditation. As I said, we're going to contemplate time, the concept of time, the importance of staying in the present moment. Again, it's a huge subject. We're not going to cover it in 15 minutes, but before we start, let's need to shift your position a little bit. That's okay, just to kind of adjust, get comfortable again. And I recommend getting up and walking around between your meditations unless you absolutely need to. That sort of breaks that bubble of calm that you've created. But it's okay to shift a little bit because, again, we want to be comfortable and settled. Before we start with any meditation, guided meditation, we offer our motivation at the beginning and we close it with a dedication at the end. And what that does is we believe that it seals in the positive karma, the merit of this good action that we've done, this positive action. It sort of seals it in because we're taking this time out of our busy lives, our busy day, to sort of work on ourselves, make ourselves into better people. And in Buddhism, we offer the highest motivation of bodhicitta, which is simply the determination to achieve our own awakening, to be the best we can be, to come to our own enlightenment so that we can be of the greatest benefit to others. So we'll take a couple deep breaths again, just to settle back in. One more deep breath. So now let's think about time, the concept of time. The dictionary has the definition of time as a continuous, measurable quantity in which events occur in a sequence proceeding from the past through to the future, through to the present and into the future. And of course, we agree that time can be measured. Even though we can't see it or touch it, it can be measured. We have clocks, watches, calendars, all types of systems to measure the passing of time. So the measurement is a constant, and we can agree on that. We all know that 60 seconds is a minute, 60 minutes in an hour, 24 hours in a day, etc. But it doesn't always feel that way, does it? It seems like our concept of time depends on the circumstances that we're in at the moment. Think about a difficult circumstance, or even just think about being at the dentist. You're in the dentist chair, or at work, and you don't really like your job, or you're doing some tedious chore that you don't want to be doing. And you look at the clock, and then 5 minutes later, you look at the clock and you think, it has to have been an hour has gone by, and you look and 5 minutes have gone by. Like, what the heck? But then on the other hand, when you're in an enjoyable circumstance, you're out with friends, you're at a great restaurant, you're at a concert, a sporting event, you're having a great time, and you look at the clock and, oh my goodness, 6 hours have gone by and it feels like 5 minutes. Well, the measure of time didn't change, but our feelings about it changed, our understanding of it. And why is that? Why can 5 minutes feel like 5 hours and vice versa? Because of our frame of mind. So, of course, in Buddhism, time, like all things, is empty of inherent existence. We say that the appearance of time is little more than a trick of memory. And we can kind of demonstrate this on our own. We can think about what you consider to be the past. Think about what you consider to be the future. It's just thoughts. It's memories of the past, expectations of the future. Nothing's fixed, nothing's concrete, nothing's physical. It's just a running mental commentary that we have in our heads. And that's why we can shift our experience of time by changing that commentary, by changing the conversation. That's why the same amount of time can feel so different depending on where our heads are at. We're in a good headspace or a bad headspace. 5 hours can feel like 5 minutes, or 5 minutes can feel like 5 hours. The measure hasn't changed. It's our understanding, our feeling about it. We can think of our lives sort of like a movie frame, a movie. The movie's made up of, if you've ever seen like a reel of film, it's made up of frames. And each frame is a still photo, but when it's run, we see action, we see constant motion, we see constant change. But we can stop that movie. We can stop it on one frame. We can freeze time, so to speak. And we can freeze it in the present moment. And we do that with meditation by achieving stillness. In a sense, we're freezing time. When we focus on our breath and we get that calm space, we're sort of being in the moment. Everything else just fades away. We're in the now. Because in reality, all we have is the present moment. All we have is the now. Life is just a series of nows. It's infinite. One now, one moment after another. Past is gone. The future is not guaranteed. All we have is the now. We can think of the now like the vast blue sky that we spoke about earlier. It's always present, always there, endless, expansive. And the past, the future, time, changes, actions, they're just clouds passing by, like we spoke about earlier. They don't do anything to inhibit that vast blue sky. It's always there. That vast blue sky is our awareness, our Buddha mind. And that's eternal and still and peaceful. It's untouched by any of the clouds passing through. I've had a song stuck in my head for the last week or so. It's by Jimmy Buffett. Spoiler alert, I'm a parrot head. But he wrote this after Hurricane Katrina. I believe it was back in 2006. It was about dealing with adversity, weathering the storm, the physical storm of Katrina that wiped out the South, and just the storms in our lives. It's about letting go of the past and staying in the present moment, in the now. So I'm just going to read a little bit of the lyrics. I'll spare you my singing. Just a little bit of the lyrics that are sort of pertinent to what we're thinking about now, and how I think kind of sum up what we're trying to say. So he wrote, I bought a cheap watch from a crazy man down in Canal. This watch doesn't use numbers or moving hands. It always just says now. So you might think, well, I was had. But this watch is never wrong. And if I have trouble, the warranty said, breathe in, breathe out, move on. So according to my watch, the time is now. Past is dead and gone. Don't try to figure it out. Don't try to explain it. Just bow your head, breathe in, breathe out, move on. So just take a minute or two to just sort of contemplate this concept of staying in the present moment and just breathing. So for today, let's just vow to try and stay in the present moment, just moment by moment, not get caught up in the past or worried about the future. Let's just try to stay present today. Just take it day by day. Again, breathe in, breathe out, move on. And we'll close with our dedication. The merit, positive karma, any realizations, the good that came out of this time, taking this time to work on ourselves, work on our concept of time, try to improve our awareness. Let that positive karma, that merit be dedicated to our own awakening and ultimately to the awakening of all beings. Gently bring yourself out of your meditation. And I hope that this was enjoyable. I hope you got something out of it. It's been recorded, so you can go back and look at it later if you got interrupted or just having a bad session this morning, having a bad day. That's fine. You can look at it when you've got a better time. In the meantime, we'll see you here next week, same time, Facebook Live, 10:30 on Wednesdays. Check our Facebook page and our website for any upcoming announcements on things coming up. In the meantime, I wish you good health. I wish you happiness. Stay in the moment. Be kind to each other. Don't forget to breathe. Tudiche. Thank you.